Hashtag no wave caps, no do-rags. Michael Jordan, PARTTWICE. Get that razor and shave that head. It's springtime, G.
Had to do my consultation. Let's talk about my hair transplant. I got my hair done 2 days ago. As you can see, it's healing up now. And no, I did not go to Turkey to get my hair done. For anyone that's gonna ask, no, I did not go to Turkey to get my hair done. No. I got my hair done in Wembley, to be exact, Kenton, Harrow, the same place where Heady One and Chunks got theirs done. Arrived at the hair clinic about 8:30. I went in, had to do my consultation. They're asking me questions like if I'm diabetic, if I'm on any medicines, if I have any diseases and all of that. Obviously, I don't have none of that. Then after I sign off the form, the waiver, I go and see the doctor. The doctor comes and talks to me and we design what I need and everything. We talk about everything I need. As you can see, it was my middle, it was my crown and my donor area. And obviously, like, my hairline was actually alright, to be honest. It was literally just mainly like my crown and my donor area. Now, I could have put my hairline forward. I know everyone's like, oh, you should have put your hairline forward. However, if I did put my hairline forward, it would have meant that they would have had to take more grafts. So graft is 2 hairs. So I got 4,000 grafts done. So that means 8,000 hairs that's been implanted into my head. So I would have had to take more grafts from the top of my head to bring it down to like lower my hairline, which would have made my hair less dense at the top, and I don't want that. After that, we then go into the surgery room and they cut all your hair off. I can't lie, I was so gassed because I wanted to see what I look like bald. I've never seen myself bald. I've always had hair, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's short or long, my hair used to be like down here. Can't lie, no homo, I actually looked, you know what I'm saying, good bald, you know what I'm saying? Cut it all off, and then, yeah. That's when they start to inject you with anesthesia. I can't lie, I thought they was gonna give me just one injection. Yo, they were just injecting me. And as it was like injecting, I could just feel my head just swelling. Like it was just like a balloon just going like that. I could feel it. And then after a while, I just stopped feeling it. And they injected me in my hairline. And then that's it. That's when they started doing the surgery. The surgery, I probably started about like 9:15. And then I fell asleep because I was so tired. I only had like 2 hours sleep. I was so tired. I finished at 1:45. Had lunch. You know what I'm saying? I only had apples, 2 apples and an apple juice, and that's it. We continued at 1:05, and I finished at 1:15. After that, they just give you a bunch of medication that you have to take. Obviously, as you can see, the swelling on my head. Yeah, that's it. They just go through everything of what you can do and what you can't do. And that was it, really. Easy, man, easy. But guys, if you want any tips or any advice, just follow me, message me, and I got you, man. Like, I'm not one of these guys that are like, oh, hair transplant, and don't share the thing. Like, I will share the thing with you. I will talk to you about everything. You know what I'm saying? If you have any like doubts, anything, just shout me, okay? It's your boy K Flex. Have a good day, man. Peace out.
The howl of a dire wolf hasn't been heard on planet Earth for more than 10,000 years. That's because the species is extinct, or was. Colossal Biosciences is a Dallas-based company that's using genetic engineering to de-extinct long-gone species. And this is the first time Colossal's dire wolf pups, who are now 6 months old, have been seen by the public. Hey Ben, it's Jeff Kluger from Time Magazine. A pleasure to meet you. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what the goal is for de-extincting and rewilding ultimately. Why are you doing this work?
It became abundantly clear that we need new tools and technologies for conservation. And so we thought this was a really cool way that we could create value, create impact, inspire people, and then also hopefully thoughtfully rewild some of these species, which apparently will also have ecological benefits to these different potential ecosystems.
To try and do that, Colossal needed to understand dire wolves at a genetic level. The company has documented the process from the beginning and shared this footage with Time for a cover story. So can you tell me a little bit about what went into engineering the dire wolf?
We extracted DNA from 2 fossils that we knew from previous work had some amount of preserved ancient DNA. One was a 13,000-year-old bone, and the other was a 72,000-year-old bone, an inner ear bone. We were able to generate 2 genomes, 2 direwolf genome sequences from that, which we then compared to all the other wolves for which there's already been data generated. And when we do that, we want to figure out where it is that these 2 dire wolves are similar to each other, but different from the other wolves that are out there. And so we come up with this list of genes where they're distinct. Now, our goal in the dire wolf project, just like with all de-extinction projects, is to re-engineer the core traits, the core characteristics that made these extinct species unique and able to fill whatever role that they filled in their ecosystems when they were still alive.
Using this knowledge, Colossal then made 20 modifications to 14 genes in the DNA of common gray wolf cells. These relatively few tweaks to the genetic code produce some big differences. The dire wolf's white coat, large size, characteristic vocalizations like that howling you heard at the beginning of the story, and more. That DNA was transferred to denucleated egg cells, meaning cells without their own genetic material, and then developed into embryos and were then implanted in the wombs of surrogate mothers, who were hound mixed dogs.
We didn't know how big these embryos would grow and wanted to make sure that the surrogate was healthy. So we picked large dogs.
Romulus and Remus, named after the Roman mythological twin brothers who were raised by a wolf, were born on October 1st, 2024. And in January, they were joined by a younger sister that the Colossal team named Khaleesi. Each wolf is on track to grow to as large as 6 feet long and 150 pounds. Colossal isn't planning to reintroduce them to the wild. Instead, the 3 dire wolves will live out their lives on a fenced 2,000-acre preserve. Colossal does not want to disclose this location in order to protect the animals.
I think these are the luckiest animals ever. They will live their entire life on this protected ecological reserve where they have all sorts of space and they have natural denning environment and they have an inclement weather hut that they can go and hide out in if they need to. They have 24-hour veterinary care.
Dire wolves aren't the only species on Colossal's de-extinction agenda.
An American company says it has genetically engineered mice so that they have developed some traits like mammoths.
A small but potentially important step in a quest to eventually bring back the prehistoric woolly mammoth.
They hope to de-extinct the woolly mammoth as early as 2028.
Responsibilities of such a possibility, and why I asked this commission to issue this report. For 3 months, the Commission has rigorously explored the scientific, moral, and spiritual dimensions of human cloning. It has talked to leading scientists and religious leaders, to philosophers and families, to patient advocates, and to the general public. From many opinions and beliefs, as Dr. Shapiro said, one unanimous conclusion has emerged. Attempting to clone a human being is unacceptably dangerous to the child and morally unacceptable to our society. I believe strongly that this conclusion reflects a national consensus, and I believe personally that it is the right thing to do. Today, I am sending legislation to the Congress that prohibits anyone in either public or private sectors from using these techniques to create a child. Until the day I sign the legislation into law, the ban on federal funding I declared in March will remain in effect. And once again, I call upon the private sector to refrain voluntarily from using this technology to attempt to clone a human being. I want to make clear that there is nothing inherently immoral or wrong with these new techniques used for proper purposes. In fact, they hold the promise of revolutionary new medical treatments and life-saving cures to diseases like cystic fibrosis, diabetes, and cancer, to better crops and stronger livestock. This legislation, therefore, will not prohibit the use of these techniques to clone DNA in cells, and it will not ban the cloning of animals. What the legislation will do is to reaffirm our most cherished belief about the miracle of human life and the God-given individuality each person possesses. It will ensure that we do not fall prey to the temptation to replicate ourselves at the expense of those beliefs and the lives of innocent children we would produce. Finally, the legislation will ensure that we continue the national dialogue we began 3 months ago, and will provide the nation and the Congress another opportunity to take a look at this issue in 5 years. To make sure that all our voices are heard as we explore human cloning, the legislation specifically requires the National Bioethics Advisory Commission to continue its study and report back in 4.5 years. At that time, we will decide how to proceed based on what has been accomplished and agreed upon and debated and discovered in the intervening period. Banning human cloning reflects our humanity. It is the right thing to do. Creating a child through this new method calls into question our most fundamental beliefs. It has the potential to threaten the sacred family bonds at the very core of our ideals and our society.